Hello, YouTube. This is Hunter Surge here with our last day of Firestorm reveals. Before we get into it, let's just talk Dallas real quick. Dallas was awesome. Dallas was sick. I'm really excited for them to put on another big tournament like this. 400 people in total, including the attendees, which is crazy, way higher than I expected there to be. Um, I did pretty well day one. I very nearly made top cut. So I finished at 28th place, top 32. I had a 5-3 record, and I had the second best tiebreaker of all of the 5-3s, which resulted in me being one of the few 5-3s to walk away with top 32 pricing. But that was we came very close. We came very, very close. So like going into round seven, I had a 5-1 record. Um, and I just needed to win one of my remaining two rounds to get into top 16 because my tiebreakers were super, super good because I did not take a loss until round five. Um, but then I punted. Round seven, I got paired into the person I wanted to fight the least because I was playing Tornation. And I consider myself pretty good at Tornation. I made top four at the PNM, best performing Tornation player there. But I got paired into Adumadam, and I was like, oh, awesome! Now I have to play into the mirror because I fought the mirror earlier in the day and not really had too much trouble with it because the player on the deck wasn't as good. And didn't quite know how to utilize Tornation. But Adumadam really knows how to utilize Tornation, really knows what makes the deck click. Been talking about him earlier in the day, and we both had come to the same, like, we were both doing the same thing where, like, we were, like, siding out Apollo every time because it's very clearly the worst card in the deck. So if we're going to bring in something for the matchup, Apollo's the first card we take out. Um, so that was really unfortunate. The person I wanted to fight the least, it was ended up being a 2-1, very close games. Outside of game three, I was like eight spares behind in game three. He saw a lot of healers. He was on a Crackle, which is really smart tech because running one of Crackle means that when you go for Tornation and you want to get a healer off of Tornation, you have a third card that heals that you can declare to guarantee you get one of them. That's very smart. I should have been on that. Um, but yeah. Um, Yeah. So yeah, we came very close. Round eight, we just punted. We should have mulliganed game one. I just opened a really bad hand, and I should have mulliganed away. Didn't. And then game two, we just punted. We just punted super hard in round eight, and it really sucks because if we won that round, we would have made top cut. We would have made top cut for sure. Really unfortunate. But I'm still pretty happy with 5-3 top 32 for the first big in-person Elestrals event. We'll do better next time, or at least we'll try to. Um, all right. So we have the last three Firestorm reveals to go over, in addition to some other various things that were announced at Dallas that I really want to talk about because they're really cool. So these are the last three functional cards. There's actually no Morphos in the set, surprisingly. I was very, very surprised to learn that there wasn't actually going to be Morphos in the set. But these are the three remaining Frost and Lesser Sun we've been talking about for a bit. So first we have Bunex this had been revealed the day before by K-Cray. It is a 4/4/1 Frost. You can expend a Frost in order to search your deck for up to two Nyximera and send one to your underworld and add the other to your hand. So for one thing, I'm pretty sure how this works is if you only have one to grab, it has to go to the underworld. You can't add to your hand. Um, but this card is a really nice starter. Like it's a 4/4. 4/4 is a really nice stat line, especially since Frost now has its own Jolton, so it can get into Mountains of Boreas pretty profitably because it's doing that while putting up a 5. Um, and then Bunex itself becomes a 5/5, which is a very nice stat line. And then it gets your Nyximera's set up. However, it doesn't help you get your Nyximeras onto the field. What do the Nyximeras do? So Nyximera Resin Form is a Frost Solar 7/4. You can expend a Solar in order to target and destroy a face-down room. That's very nice. Very, very good. During your end phase, you must either send this Nyximera to the Underworld or special ascend it to Fallen Form from your hand, deck, or Underworld. And the Nyximera Fallen form is Frost Lunar 4/7. It cannot be targeted by invoke runes during your opponent's end phase. You must either send this Nyximera to the underworld or special send it into Risen form from your hand, deck, or underworld. So this is a very cool line. I think a lot of people are going to try to experiment with a lot. However, it does have some like really fundamental issues that are in its way. The biggest one is that the Ascension line has no way to get your Nyximera started. So you're going to have to put other ways in your deck of doing it. Now, there's some pretty obvious ways of doing that. Since Risen form is solar, you can use the board swarming stuff that Solar got in this set, stuff like Exaltus, Champion of Apollo, or if you're willing to go more in on the Apollo stuff, you can run what's it called? Soul Champion of Apollo. You also have access to Infrostics to get Ascension fodder onto your field, and of course you can just protect a Frost guy like Bunnix or whatever as well. You can also, since Bunnix dumps Nyximera, you can choose to dump Risen form and then rise from the ashes your Risen form back to the field. Rise will probably be pretty good here for that reason. Now, the other problem that this deck has is that it's very expensive because at the end of every turn, you have to ascend into the other form. And every time you do that, you have to put another spirit from your spirit deck onto that Elestral. Now we can find ways to utilize those spirits, of course. If we end up playing a counter rune during our opponent's turn, we can pay the excess spirit off of our fallen form as one of the spirits that we're using. We can also play Ambrosias using those extra spirits, or we can go in on, we're going to build up a lot of spirits on these Elestrals, and then with Risen form, we're going to take out the Shield of Achilles that would put us under threat, um, and then we're going to hit in for 1 billion damage. But these are the sort of fundamental issues this has, and then if your Nyximera gets taken out, which is hardly impossible, like your opponent just sets multiple back row and you don't hit the shield and they flip shield on you. They like eddy your fallen form into attack and just crash into it. Um, they can combo that with Zeus or Demeter to not need to crash. There's plenty of removal effects that aren't invoke runes, so like a Boombat can be sided in, and Boombat has become a very popular sideboard card to deal with Blizz as is. There's a lot of ways to deal with this. So as a result, I don't think these cards are going to be very good. But they are very fun build around that I expect to see explored a lot in Firestorm because what they're doing is very cool. But honestly, I think they're pretty bad. I think these cards are just not very good. Um, Chimera form when? Okay. So now let's talk about Shard Stars. So we got some Shard Stars reveals. We had already seen teased that we were getting Volkari's Champion of Festus early in here, which is on its own very exciting. Um, very, very exciting because that means that we will have a bit of a shakeup in the main metagame because Shard Stars Fire will become legal for play, and in addition, Valkyries will become legal for play. Warmite is also a pretty good card that becomes legal for play, but unless Hestia's Hearth is also in here, it's not going to be good enough yet. A lot of what makes Warmite Champion of Hestia good is Hestia herself and Hestia's Hearth. Hestia's Hearth turns Champion Warmite into the scariest combat trick in the game. Like you go +3 spirits on it. You create a 9 stat point change no, a 6 stat point change, sorry. A 6 stat point change. And if you succeed in your opponent crashing into your Warmite, the Warmite now has 2 extra spirits on it, so your opponent takes 2 damage in return. Huge, huge swing, extremely powerful. But if we don't have Hearth, then that's not going to be real. And Hestia also helps by like letting you pair it with like an eddy so you can get over defense position guys. Um, pair it with something, another attacker, so that's easier for you to ensure you get over your opponent and take board control. Um, so I don't think Warmite is going to be good enough to see like a ton of play. It could see some play, but like in most aspects at the moment, it's just going to be worse than original Warmite because original Warmite is -4 attack. So it's just like I'd rather just run that. Um, Unless Hearth is in here. If Hearth is in here, it's a completely different story, and then we have to like explore that card. But Valkyries could like do things right away. Very high potential for it to do things right away because like Argos is so strong. Unfortunately, we now have it confirmed that the Constellation rare is original Valkyries and not Champion of Hephaestus Valkyries. I think that's very unfortunate because original Valkyries is just like not a very good card. And I really wanted more of these constellation rares to be like playable cards. So it would have been really sick for it to be Champion of Hephaestus Valkyries, considering that's one of the best cards in the set. And then we see here also the Full Art Novelith and the Full Art Volcanic Forge. And then we see a bit of what we're getting in Frost. So we're getting Urskoat because Frost is May. So Urskoat, um, First coat, Snowlet, new Snowlet art, and that you get Snowlet in foil. That's pretty cool. Arcturus Constellation Rare, and of course the long-awaited Morlith reprint. All right, moving on from that, we have Organized Play Series 3. So the most exciting, there are two really exciting things about Organized Play Series 3. One, it was confirmed that one of the slots in the pack is still 3 cards. So it was confirmed it is confirmed that this one will have hollow rares, hollow commons, sorry, similarly to what we've seen in Shattered Stars, where you can pull any of the commons at hollow. Now, I don't think it's been confirmed whether that's going to be every single pack, like Shattered Stars, or if it's like there's a chance for a common to come hollow. But the ideal would be one card slot is the non-hollow common, then you have the hollow common, and then you have the stellar. Um, that would be the ideal. I imagine that's probably what they're doing. This is very exciting. So like here in the common slots, we see Spineth, Snark, and Ambrosia, all very nice cards to be seeing in here. Like Spineth has a very cool line with Spinosect, and being the Hermes Searcher is pretty nice. Though like it might not end up seeing play because you might just go, yeah, I'll just run 3 Hermes, like one I'll check it, I'll be fine. Um, Snark is very, very nice. I'm very happy to be getting a holo print of Snark. That card's super good. And it's going to become better next set because in addition to enabling the Drake King, Joblin, that sort of stuff, it is now also good support for the Javalantis deck because Javalantis can ascend over any water on your field when you cast a Tsunami. So you can go Snark with Javalantis in hand, search for High Tide, cast out High Tide, and then ascend the Snark into Javalantis, which is very, very sick. Um, there's also an Ambrosia reprint here. That Ambrosia I really like that Ambrosia art. But importantly, it's also been confirmed that Shield, Poison Tipped Arrow, and Gorgon's Gaze all have common prints in here too. So we will have like plentiful copies of those cards, which is something we really, really needed. Like the biggest problem with building multiple decks in Elestrals is those cards, those 3 counter runes exactly. So knowing that, by playing in a lot of organized play tournaments throughout Series 3, I'm going to be able to acquire a ton of those staples is very nice. Very excited about that. And also you can get them in Hollow, and that's going to be really sick too. Um, then for the non-serialized Stellars, thus far we have Cedarsaur, very good card. Torchin, Champion of Hestia, not that good. Javalantis, I was just talking about this card. I think this card is very good as well. Electronite, it's okay. I believe there was one that went like 5-3 um, this weekend, but like it's not terribly good. Dracodoodle, I like this card a lot. I think like this is what makes Hermes worth running. Soulstalk's Champion of Apollo is pretty cool. It could see some play in the new solar decks. The ability to bounce a divine rune can be pretty potent. though you won't be able to do that against the matchup that you would care about the most. And then for serialized stellars, we have Star, and then we have the X out of 10 Shield of Achilles. Very interesting to me that they're going with Shield this time, because like every time it has been a X out of 10 for the a reprint rune from the most recent set. So like I would have thought they would have gone with like Earthquake. Earthquake would have been a really sick one, and it's just as much of a staple rune as Shield of Achilles. But I don't mind it being I don't mind it being Shield of Achilles at all. Um, I wonder if the next one will be Gorgon's Gaze to complete the rotation of the really, really good ones. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. And then lastly, we got Premier Pack 1. This is super cool. So this pack with all these premier frame cards is what is going to be replacing the current hot stamp pricing for premier events and also future in-person events. I imagine there's going to be one of these packs for each set because like this one is very clearly Firestorm themed because like you have like Vipyro and Lycris on the pack art. You get two cards in here. The last two cards in here, the Torchin and the Carry Off, are not actually pullable from the pack. These are so the Torchin from what was said in the Discord, the Torchin is the first place prize card. And then the carry off will be like a top 16 prize card. So this is a really cool way of bulking up um, the pricing. The other stuff we have in here is we have Viserys. This has been confirmed to be original Viserys. You can't see its defense or enough of its text to really tell otherwise. Eddie, really like this Eddie art. Very cool. Then we have Fulgaris, Champion of Zeus. Incredibly good card. Fulgaris is so good. One of the best cards in the set. So very happy to see it's getting this like super, super cool print here. Brummeling's champion of Kion is also very good. Exaltus champion of Apollo is also very good. Spectarius champion of Artemis is also very good. I don't know if there's going to be any more in the normal slots beyond these eight, but the Hydrake is like a super hard to pull stellar, but that's also super, super cool. This is like wow, like they just always just constantly step up their game with this pricing, and this is super sick. I'm really curious how exactly this is going to work out, like how many of these packs you're going to get. I imagine as you get into top cut or the top 16 placements, you start getting sent extras of these more than you would get at entry. I'm really curious how many you're going to get for entry and stuff like that. But these are super cool. This like marble frame is really cool. Really good way of distinguishing these tournament prize cards. And like these all just look so sick. Um, very, very happy about this. Like, I'm very excited. I know a few people who had previously not participated in the webcam premieres who are now planning on participating in the webcam premieres because of this pricing. It's super sick. Like I thought the hot stamp cards were like decent, but they didn't feel all that unique. You can't really tell that thing is hot stamped. Like I don't really care about those. Like um, but these these are super sick. These are like super unique, super cool pricing. I'm very excited for the next premiere. They said that it might be the prize end up being pricing for the April 5th premiere. Thankfully, I am back home in time for that, so I will be in full capacity to play in that. Um, yeah, this is super cool. This is super cool. Very excited about this. All right. With that said, this is going to be Hunter Search signing off.